Hello and welcome to the World We Live In podcast. I'm your host, Eric Patterson. Alongside me is my sister, Erin. Join us as we explore the amazing, mysterious aspects of our planet's cultures, history, and future trends. Yo, yo, yo.
That intro just gets me.
Yeah?
I'm pumped every time.
I mean, it sums it up.
It does. It's so great.
Up.
Did you write that?
Partially. Someone I knew, can't remember his last name. His name's Colin.
He doesn't even get a full shout out.
Well, but you know, in college, you start to know a lot of people, and some people stick around, some people don't.
Yeah.
I got to know. I knew him through my buddy Grayson, and we just kind of went back and forth on email. One day, just kind of like, I was like, hey, this is what I want to address, and then he just kind of like spewed that out, and then we changed a few words, and it was
great.
Yeah.
Shout out Colin.
Yeah, for sure. And similar with the logo. Girl I knew at the time, Susanna, she did the logo. And she does like branding, design type stuff. And similar.
Yeah.
Told her like what I wanted.
And she just did it.
And she's like, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. So there have been people along the way that have touched the podcast.
Touch the world we live in.
Yeah. Me and Kyle's coming back on to do an episode with me after the Dogman conference.
Yes, that's...
Yeah. Because, I mean, I'm going to have, fingers crossed, I'm going to have a lot of material.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the reuniting of you two.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a good one. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long day here, but we are here. I was in California last week, so I was all messed up on the time because it's 2 hours difference from here in Nashville, and I also just partied. So, then I worked out today and wanted to end it all, but I didn't because I had this. So, here we are.
Because you had the mental fortitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did. But yeah, I was like a little outside of LA on this like beautiful lake.
You were in the mountains.
Yeah. Super awesome. I would go back immediately. The weather is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it like coming back here is just like little stormy and humid and gross. And when we were out there, they kept saying there was like a flash flood warning. And I was like...
In California?
Yeah. Get
out of here.
Yeah, and I was in the county we were in. And I was like... So I'm like, oh, maybe it's like a weird... No rain in the forecast. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that was great. I've been to LA a couple times, like the city.
Yeah.
But I would like to spend more time there. I think it'd be a good time. But the mountains were great. We'll go back.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, LA County obviously has a lot of issues, but it's also incredibly gorgeous.
Yeah, it has its pros.
It has its pros, yes, it does. I mean, Kyle is from the general area, so and that's where we did his bachelor party on the West Coast.
Yeah, I was trying to tell some of the people that you were out there, but I didn't know like where you had gone.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh yeah, like the guy who was getting married was from Agora Hills, is that how you say it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, like very familiar with it. But I didn't. I was like, I know they went to some club and then the car that was supposed to drive them back like just didn't or something.
So we were supposed to go to a concert, and it got canceled 4 hours before the show started.
That's right.
Because of COVID.
Oh, the whole concert got canceled.
The whole thing got canceled. Yeah.
So then you guys just went clubbing.
So then we just went clubbing, and the club that we went to was pouring rum and cokes, the strongest I've ever had. I mean, it was like straight rum.
Wow.
Like I nursed the drink for 2 hours simply because I could not drink it faster.
Wow.
It was rough.
It was strong.
It was rough. But yeah, I love the West Coast. It's great. Yeah. The whole West Coast is incredible. So
Yeah, agreed.
yeah, glad you had a good time.
Yep. What about you?
I've just been working. Soccer season's about to start, so I'll be coaching,
Yep.
which is exciting. That's about it.
Yeah, that's something new that's going to start. Restart.
I was on the lake again.
Oh,
And
yes.
for those of you that listened to a couple episodes ago, if you haven't, go back a couple episodes.
It's the one about, like, haunted cars.
Yes, I
The
believe
beginning
so.
of that episode,
Yes.
we talk about a boat, so now
Yeah.
you'll understand. But
We explain how sketchy it was, and let me just say, my experience last weekend, 2 weekends ago, was more sketchy than the experience that me and Erin detail. There's this boat rental on this lake in just north of Nashville, and the boats there they get used a lot.
yeah, they just are popular.
And they're just popular, and they're sketchy as fuck. So there were about 16 of us. I went with my CrossFit gym, and the boat, it's a pontoon, so it's not that aerodynamic on the water. But the engine that was on this thing was just screaming the entire time. Like, the guy who was driving had his boating license, like, has been on boats before, knows what he's doing. He had the throttle all the way down, and we were going like 5 miles an hour.
oh, my God.
And added to that, there was a hole on the deck of the boat right by the engine that was just like, it was just spewing water, like, pew, pew. Just like as you're driving along, water is just flying up. And I was sitting near the back on the way out to the spot we were going to, and we're all just like, it's fine, whatever. But you know,
Just here to have a good time.
Just here to have a good time. So, but you're looking forward to going out, and then, but on the way back, everyone's like kind of drunk, and me and this other girl were sitting towards the back of the boat, and this girl was just staring at this water leaking thing the whole time. I was trying to ignore it. It was so sketchy. It took us like 30 minutes boat ride.
The good news was he did not throw up after this one.
Yes,
like the last occurrence.
No throw up was had.
He came back and actually looked okay.
It was a really fun day, and it was a lot more lower key because a lot of the people that I work out with they're older. They're like 30s, have kids. You know, they're not trying to get shit faced on a Saturday because
they have kids.
Yeah, like some were going to like a dinner, and like they were going to like some other nicer bars around the city, just like, you know.
The last time we were on the boat, it had to be a range of like 18 to like, there was that guy on there who was like,
I mean, it was like 40.
Had to have been 40 or 50.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But like, everyone was getting shit-faced.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to know this time was better.
Yeah. There were a lot of people too. At the spot. It's popular.
Very popular.
But yeah, so we survived. Never going on that lake again with that boat rental.
No, we have to up the game.
Yeah, we gotta find something else.
We need to get new friends.
Yeah, you get rich friends who have a house on a lake.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we're still gonna just podcast. And today we have a good mix. Gonna finish off the show with some Dogman, just in light of going to the Dogman conference. I figured
you have to.
Figured we would do something like that. But starting out, I came across this really, really weird story. It's weird because, I mean, all of it's just odd.
It is odd.
So it's the story of the Leatherman. That's literally all he goes by. There's some speculation to his name, but it's pretty straightforward as far as what he is. He is literally a man who, between the years of 1883 and 1889, would walk a 365-mile loop in Connecticut, and he wore leather, but not just like a dominatrix type leather, like
like a lot of leather.
Yeah, I think it says somewhere it was like, I think it was between like 60 to 70 pounds of leather. This guy was just covered in leather.
Yeah. Like if you were out in any temperature above like 60 in this outfit, you would probably like
you'd be dying. Out. Yeah. No, in the pictures they do have of him, it's like the pieces of leather are like stitched together. It almost looks like he's wearing a quilt, but it's leather.
When I saw this picture, I thought of where I used to live in Nashville, and there was like a resident homeless man who would like hang out around there, and he did the same thing, but with denim. It was kind of lit, honestly.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it was like a vibe. Like I would buy pants like that, but yeah, this is what it reminded me of. It's just like patched together and really like he did it on the move.
Yeah, and that's what this guy did. He just walked up and down this loop, and people would literally just wait for the guy. Every like 30, 35 days, he would just like come through your town.
Yeah, and they would leave out like food and like warm welcomings and stuff for him. And he could speak like fluent French, it says.
Yes. So that fact kind of starts to get to who he possibly was, because obviously up towards that northeastern corridor there, you have Montreal just over the border from New York. So like there's a lot of French influence, obviously, from the immigration, whenever.
Right.
Back in the day of, like, pioneer people and whatnot. So, according to some people, a popular theory was that this leather man was a guy named Jules Bourgelat, a would-be paramour to the daughter of one of France's largest leather traders, hence why he wore leather.
There you go.
Bourgelat had financially ruined a prominent family in France and was reputed to have fled to Connecticut in disgrace. Obviously, a preoccupation with leather. Says a possible desire to perform some elaborate lifelong act of penance. So, like, a punishment for his, whatever you want to call that, destruction of an estate or whatever. He didn't want people to know who he was. He also didn't really speak. He just kind of grunted and said words. Which is basically me every day.
Yeah, like, we all relate.
Yeah, we all just say in the morning, just grunting and he obviously he just went from town to town. Forgot where I was going. People. The weird part to me is that people, like, we were just saying earlier before we started, it's almost like Santa. Like, they would leave food out for him, and like it was important that he ate your food. So, like, for those of the Christian religion, like, you leave food out for Santa, and Santa, like, will eat a cookie and drink some milk.
Yeah, and that's like a good thing.
And that's like you can tell Santa's been there, and this is like a similar thing. So, there were also these caves that he had mapped out along his route. And after he died, people started making these like they were like sites that people visited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I like the part about what he ordered. There was one store that he visited that kept a record of his order.
Yeah.
Because they weren't really sure how he was like affording to, like, how he had money to like buy things and stay alive. But it said one store that kept a record of his order. It consisted of a loaf of bread, a can of sardines, 1 pound of fancy crackers, a pie, 2 quarts of coffee, brandy, and a bottle of beer.
I mean, that really hits all the necessities.
I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
And I would be content.
Yeah, I think most people would.
I would like a bed and not a cave, but like with the food, I'd be content.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's crazy. Like, you could get away with so much shit, like 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, could you imagine trying to do this today?
Right.
I mean,
it'd be like,
you could never do that.
You couldn't.
You could never do that. One, people would not give you anything.
No.
That's not a part of American culture. Like, the panhandler and the beggar are, like, at the bottom.
Right.
You know, and like, it's whatever I don't care. You probably have personal opinions on that type of lifestyle, I guess. But, like, in general,
You wouldn't welcome them to your front porch.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't sound like this guy was a bad guy, but, you know, there's too many people today to do this. Like, you could never do that. It's like people back in the day that would, like, change their identity and just, like, move out west.
Right.
You
That's
know?
the equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you could never do that because there'd be, like, way too many ways of, like, tracking you.
Yeah. And like cameras.
Yeah, cameras, like, you'd have to like, I know people disappear and stuff like that and whatever, but
You would have to take someone's identity for the most part.
you would have to steal an identity.
Yeah.
Like, you could not erase your whole footprint today.
Right.
Like, someone like this
Very
could.
difficult, yeah.
So no one's ever found the body, though. Like, he died and the body's never been found.
Wait, really? Mm-hmm. What is this, though?
What's that?
What is this part that says March 24th marked the discovery of Leatherman's body?
But I don't think that's not. They took the coffin and nothing was there.
Oh.
Yeah. Which article are you looking at?
The Medium.
What does it say? You read it.
Yeah, it says that day marked the discovery of the Leatherman's body in his cave in Sawmill Woods on a farm of a man named George Dell in the town of Mount Pleasant, New York. Reportedly, his face was frostbitten at times during the winter, though by the time he passed, he never lost any of his fingers, like other local tramps of the time have. A prayer book in French found on his person after his passing. His cause of death was from cancer of the mouth as a result of tobacco use, they say. But I don't know. It says his grave is still there.
It says his grave got moved further away from Route 9. Oddly, when the first grave was dug, only some coffin nails were found.
So after this.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
that's
someone
even
had
better.
to move his body. Mm-hmm. Or he's a vampire. One, two.
I mean.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a weird story of a vagabond that wore leather.
I think that's so intriguing. Like, I love it.
I don't really care about who he was.
No, me neither.
Like, that's the mystery. I think people nowadays always want an answer.
Yes.
Like, I was just listening to Mysterious Universe, and they were doing a story about the Somerton Man. Have you heard of the Somerton Man?
No.
It's this. I won't go into detail, but it's this weird. It's this weird saga of this guy that washed up on an Australian beach. It had like a weird notebook and like some sayings in it, and no one knew who he was. And then they sort of figured out who he was, but they still don't know why he was there.
Wow.
Yeah. But like people keep searching for answers, but I'm fine not knowing. Like it's just a good story.
Yeah. People just need to take it for what it is.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It takes the beauty out of things.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep, I agree. Okay. So this is another just kind of really cool story. But I was reading on I think it was Coffee or Die, which is the Black Rifle Coffee's like blog or news.
Yeah, it's like their magazine.
Outlet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I did an entire project in college about you. But great information on like the history of.
Yeah, no, they do some really cool stories. A lot of military history.
Super cool stuff.
Yeah.
If you're interested in that.
And I love that because I was that kid in middle school who, when we went to the library, I would go straight for the World War II books and just like flip through pictures.
Yeah. No, this dude knows so many random things.
I do. Yeah. So this story caught my eye real quick. So this is about how in World War II, these two individuals, members of the OSS, which is basically the precursor to the CIA, they went and met the Dalai Lama in Tibet, which is pretty insane.
That is insane.
At the time of a war, a world war, to get to Tibet was like an insane challenge. Yeah. So I'll just read a little description here. So, Brooke Dolan II was educated at Princeton and Harvard University. He was a trustee of the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. He led 2 expeditions to China and eastern Tibet in 1931 to 1932 and 1934 to 1936. The first expedition comprised Ernst Schaefer, a German zoologist, Gordon Bowles, Otto Naser, and Hugo Weingold. The second comprised Schaefer and Marion Duncan, an American missionary. Dolan's second expedition may have been motivated partly by the need to take a leave of absence from Philadelphia Society after a January 1934 arrest on disorderly conduct. Dolan joined the United States Air Force after the attack on Pearl Harbor. In 1942, he traveled to Lhasa, which is the capital of Tibet, with Ilya Tolstoy. So this individual is the grandson of Leo Tolstoy, which is the famous Russian author and maybe poet. I can't remember. On December 20th, 1942, they met with the 14th Dalai Lama. So this is the current Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama was 7.
Oh, because he was like a kid.
He was just a child.
Just a child.
That's also the crazy part. They went there to meet with, just a child.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I know. They were the first Americans ever to meet a Dalai Lama.
Wow.
Both received the Legion of Merit for their mission. They are considered to have gone beyond their authority in leading the Tibetan government to believe the United States had given international political recognition to Tibet. So they kind of took some liberties. Mm-hmm. After the Tibetan expedition, Dolan transferred from the OSS to the Army Air Force and joined the United States Military Observer Group in Yunnan, China. Dolan died in China. According to some accounts, he was killed on an OSS mission to rescue a downed Allied bomber. According to other accounts, he committed suicide. So, basically, these two traveled to Tibet, met with the Tibetan government at that time. And mind you, the Japanese had been fighting the Chinese as well. So it was like, the CIA always has like something they're trying to do, but then there's something else they're trying to do. So like, if they're trying to, if they meet with your government, like they're also trying to overthrow the government at the same time. Right. That's just the way the CIA works. So this was the OSS, but they were like going there to also try and get into China because there really wasn't like a way to do that.
Right.
And they were also fighting the Japanese at the time. So
makes sense.
Yeah. That's really all it is. It's just kind of a crazy thing. Like they went there to meet a 7-year-old kid.
I remember watching. I can't even remember what it was. I want to say it was on Netflix, but it was about in like the 70s, and it was like Americans going to Tibet, like hippies, to try to like meet like religious leaders, and like him being one of them. And it was like about all the crime that would happen like along the way, and how these like Americans were so just like naive and like excited to like go on this journey and get like high and like do all these like psychedelics and stuff, but they would just get taken advantage of by like people, like French people who were there.
Oh, there's so many
like
stories
Chinese,
about that.
like, and other Americans too. Like it was a wild time.
Because it's like there's I think there's a fantasy about the East.
That's
and
sort
like
of what
India
it was.
and China. And then you get there and it's just like poverty.
Yeah.
And just like no running water and I mean Tibet is just barren.
Yeah.
I mean there's nothing up there.
Right.
But yeah, there's so many stories. Well, that one the one story that Netflix documentary about the cult that moved to Oregon. Do you remember that?
Sorry, I had to yawn.
They bought the land in Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Okay, I don't know.
I do remember that though.
Those stories don't interest me anymore.
Really?
Well, because it's all the same shit. Like, it's one guy just fucking every girl he sees because he's their, like, yogi master and is gonna, like, transcend their mind or whatever.
Everyone's guilty in that situation.
It's literally the same. Every cult is the same thing.
Yep.
Like, you were just watching the one about the Mormon... the Mormon religious cult on Hulu with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. It was
same thing.
Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yeah, an old guy just trying to sleep with the younger girls.
Yeah.
That's all it ever is.
Yep.
So.
Really fucked.
Yeah, it really is. I'm
trying to find the name of the show about Tibet.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna get into some Dogman stuff.
Do it. I'll report back.
Yeah. So I am going to the Dogman conference. With Sandman from Parareality Radio here in about a week and a half. So, yeah, we're just going to end with some Dogman, and I think there's a Bigfoot story in here. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. But this first one is from Alaska. And it's just a first-hand account. I believe it's a woman was out. Yeah, so there's a route kind of like through this mountainous area. It's called a section of the Trunk Road.
Wow.
Between the towns of Palmer and Wasilla. Basically, frigid wilderness. You could drive all night and not see a single car.
I'm Google mapping it.
Yeah. So it's about 10 minutes from home at around 2 a.m. And this was in 1998. Obviously, driving pretty slow because it's pretty icy. And she saw this tall, looming figure in her headlights, very tall. And she goes, I could clearly see its wolfish muzzle, large upright ears, and spikes on its back were in fact clumps of fur. Its spine curved in a smooth, very natural-looking way. It was standing in the ditch, inches from the pavement, because I was focused on its upper body. I do not recall anything about its legs or if it had a tail. I did see its front legs, though, very doggy-looking, hanging awkwardly down and slightly toward its front, exactly as you'd expect if a dog stood upright, while it clearly had a canine look. There was still something off about it that I can't articulate. It was perfectly still at this point, given the proximity to Halloween. I was quite convinced it was some sort of Halloween prop because it was clearly not any kind of existing animal. I was deeply impressed and gently stepped on the brakes, intending to stop and examine it closely. Then it turned its head toward me. In the tiny fraction of a second that it took for it to swivel its head, I knew I had made a terrible mistake. The fluidness of its movement removed any and all doubt that this was some kind of prop. It was horribly, terrifyingly alive. The pale off-white glow of its eyeshine in the headlights destroyed any possibility of a human in a costume. I sat there gaping at it in shock for a few seconds, the car barely moving by now, but still inching closer. As I was almost upon it, I think I could have leaned forward and touched the car. I think it could have leaned forward and touched the car if it had wanted. And then she just goes on to describe her height and relative.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, at what point did you think there was someone in a prop costume in the middle of the wilderness?
This is what people do.
Yeah.
They try to, like, come up with a rationalization of it.
Yes.
Because, like,
you're right.
Probably writing
you're
that,
right.
She was like, that was stupid as shit
Yeah,
to think
yeah,
that was someone in a costume. But, like, she said, they can't be anything else, you know?
Yeah.
It's like to protect yourself.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
I agree. That's funny. Also, are the Dogman's, like, back legs longer? Like, so it can stand up or no?
Yeah. So that's the idea that, like, the Dogman is an upright canid.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but still has a snout and everything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Totally could see that in Alaska, though, like, with all the wolves and shit. Like a deformed wolf or something.
Yeah. I mean, there are no doubt some giant wolves.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of thought to be extinct giant wolf. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
The bottom line with all these cryptid encounters is there's so much uncharted land. Like not uncharted, basically unexplored, unlivable, you know. And I've said this before that, like, if you live in the city, you think everything's like the city, you know.
Yeah.
Until you drive across, like, Nebraska, and you're like,
Yeah.
where are all the people?
Yeah.
or like you drive, like, through the Rocky Mountains, and you're like, where are all the people?
Yeah.
Like, you can't live there.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, you have to dig your own well, hunt your own food, and people just don't do that these days. Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, there are some people who do that, but not a lot.
They're still around.
Not a lot. So yeah, that's my take. I mean, I don't. Hopefully, I find answers at the Dogman conference, because Dogman is kind of weird. Because, like, Bigfoot, you're like, oh, it's very human-like. Like, it could be like maybe it's some extinct or thought to be extinct human ancestor,
right? That
has found, you know, breeding populations and stuff like that. But, like, Dogman, like, looks like an animal.
It's obviously not.
It looks like an animal, but it's like
related to a human.
But it has human mannerisms,
right?
And that's the creepy part. It's like the it's like the effect that robots, the effect that robots have where it looks human-like, but it's not. Mm-hmm. The uncanny valley.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like it's so human-like, but it's not. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting. There's a Bigfoot encounter in here, but it's not quite what I was looking for.
Oh.
So I think I'm gonna pass on that. There is, however, a water, I don't know what you want to call it, like a water beast or a Loch Ness monster type.
That was you on the lake.
A water beast.
A water beast.
Yeah, exactly. This is they call it the Kodiak Island monster. This sighting was in, I guess, 1971. This fishing crew spotted an odd marine creature around 30 feet long with a head like a horse. Naturally, some people shot at it, after which it dove under the water. One of the crew members said, "We don't know what it was, but it had a grayish color and we couldn't see any fins or tail. It never made any noise. It would just come up and you could see the head and part of the body." The creature would appear for several more days, always near shore at and around 2 p.m. And it was photographed. A more recent sighting around 2002, when a fishing boat was off the west coast of Kodiak Island, and this was around 4 a.m., and some of the fishermen were pulling in their nets when a creature poked its head above the waves. But 4 a.m. it's not too bright out, so they really didn't see anything good. These are always strange to me because just of how much we don't know about the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there totally probably is that thing in there.
I 100% believe. I'm skeptical on Dogman and Bigfoot. I'm kind of 50-50 on what exactly. But I have zero doubts that they saw something.
Right.
There's just the water. It's too deep, and there's too much water to not.
I agree.
Have shit in it.
Those are the most believable to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Well, that's kind of all I got. You seem to be checking out.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron's
I'm uninterested.
Aaron's over here yawning like every 2 minutes.
But I told you where I was last week. I'm still catching up.
Yeah.
And when I got back on Friday, I immediately went right into the Nashville weekend, and so here we are.
You did. I will give you that. You did not.
I didn't miss a beat, guys.
No, you did not.
The show I was talking about Tibet and all that is called The Serpent, and it's on Netflix.
Are these true stories?
It's based on a whole. Oh. It's basically like a con man, but he did the same thing. Like he just slept with every single girl along the way, and it was he was like master career criminal. They ended up finding out, but he preyed on all these young American girls who wanted to go to the East and all this stuff. But
sometimes I wish I had that ability to con people.
But yeah, me too.
Yeah,
how badass.
I mean, it sounds fun, right? In theory, conning people sounds great.
I agree. I do agree. And just being wow, they're dumb.
Or just it's like you're acting. I mean, they're obviously crazy, but you're just playing a part until you get what you want.
Yeah, no, that's what this guy was. Total act, like an actor.
Yes.
It was not real at all.
Exactly.
So, yep.
Yeah, and people they're incredibly elaborate scams throughout history of people conning millions and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, 100%.
Sounds fun in theory, but
probably shouldn't.
Not in execution. Not really trying to get arrested by the FBI.
No, and you probably would.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't have the confidence to pull that off.
Also, I hope that you get on some like Ratchet Dogman documentary in a couple weekends because I feel like that's where that would go down. You know, like the Flat Earth documentary?
I do.
Like that thing is what I'm picturing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, well, it's in Paris. It's in Paris, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I know nothing of Paris, Tennessee.
No, I don't either. I Googled it and it's at the Paris Convention Center.
Yeah, it's at the Paris Convention Center.
All I know is you and Sandman are going to make some friends.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, so apparently the best place to eat in Paris, Tennessee. I'm just trying to find my text from Sandman. He believe me, it's worth the wait. It's damn, I can't remember. It was something like it was something to do with wings or like some play on chicken or something.
Well, of course.
Yeah, it was something like Chicken Stop or like something, just something silly. Yeah. So anyway,
that'll be awesome.
So yeah, we'll come back with some great stories, no doubt.
And you guys will get to hear Kyle again.
Yeah, Kyle's gonna be back on. That's really exciting. Man, it's been a while. Guess it's gonna be like probably 2 years. It was right before COVID.
It has been forever.
Yeah. So
that'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. But we'll probably do one more before we go out. Definitely.
Yep.
So y'all can follow us on Twitter at World We Live Pod. Find us on Instagram, World We Live In Podcast, and follow us on iTunes, rate and review, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and yeah, that's all we got. Erin, anything else?
Nope, gotta go to bed.
Okay.
I will not, but
yeah, what are you talking about? You're up to like 11:30.
Yeah, at least.
At least.
Right now, I'm just dragging.
Yeah, but it's a late. We don't usually do this late. It is a late one. Yeah.
Late Monday here.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. Take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.